Molecule is a platform that enables biomedical research to be funded and progress so that we can actually learn more about the human body and about what enables us to live a healthy life. A lot of research right now fails because it just can't get the funding it needs to progress. This is to the detriment of a lot of people with certain conditions, but also with fields that we are very interested in, such as longevity or other things like psychedelics. Now, to enable for this research to flourish, we need to make sure that the funds reach it and therefore the researchers can work their magic. And I think that is what Molecule is and what it's becoming, a platform that enables any research project to be discussed and then funded, giving us new hopes for solving some of the biggest problems in medical and human history. So Molecule services two kinds of users. On the one side, we have researchers which have a certain research aim, a project, an idea that they like to conduct. On the other side, we have investors, which can be any kind. It can be the traditional pharma, VC investor, but it could also be organizations like patient advocacy groups or newly formed decentralized autonomous organizations, which are willing to support a certain cause and a certain research project. Now we bring those two together on Molecule to create a marketplace for those ideas where they can be discussed and then invested into. This enables the researchers to get the funding they need, and at the same time the investors to acquire rights, but also data points around those research projects. The intellectual property NFT, similar to a standard NFT, actually manage the ownership rights to a certain asset. But in the case of the IP NFT, we make sure that the NFT is not just the ownership, but is also the key to the underlying asset. So for example, you have a research project that is a certain data set generated, or even a patent or some insight that is nobody from the public aware of yet. The NFT is a key to seeing that data on a decentralized data storage, and therefore it enables to only the one who actually owns the research project to also see the data. And therefore the ownership not just only grants you rights, but it actually also grants you the assets themselves. In August this year, we actually managed to create the first intellectual property NFT. Together with the Xabi Nutzen Lab, we enabled them to get the funds for a research project in the field of longevity. They received $250,000 US in funding, and at the same time transferred the rights for any data and products that might arise out of that research to a decentralized autonomous organization called VidaDAO. The whole transaction was conducted on Ethereum together with our partners Nevermind and Arweave, which enabled us to create the infrastructure to actually make this historic transaction happen. So Molecule's infrastructure will now actually enable all the research data that will be generated from the lab to flow into a secure data environment where only the DAO, VidaDAO, will be able to see that data and review it. From that, VidaDAO can now do many things with that data. They can decide to continue pursuing the research project, trying to bring a product to the market in the future, or decide that the data might be valuable on data marketplaces, creating another revenue source for themselves. So health sits at the core of all our lives. It makes sure that we can actually live a fulfilling life. The best way for us to achieve that is by understanding our bodies and making sure that when we create new products, we help ourselves advance and sustain that healthy life. The thing is that the best tool that we're using, medical research, is currently at an impasse. A lot of research projects are being left on the table because of two reasons. They either miss the funding that they desperately need, or they can't figure out the complex licensing terms that are needed for them to partner with anybody or even acquire funding. Molecule with its platform tries to solve both of those problems. On the one side, find the investors and enable them to invest in such research projects, and by standardizing the licensing agreements with the intellectual property NFT, enabling anybody to have the ownership and easily acquire a stake in a research project. And with that, we enable a marketplace that in the future will create the conditions for any research project to be conducted, and therefore enables us as humans to better understand our bodies and solve the human health issues that we are facing. The financial markets of the future are built on decentralized blockchain technology. So for us, it is clear that what we're building with Molecule needs to be integrated with those future markets. And with research projects and their outcomes being assets that can be financially used and transacted on, just like any other assets that we are aware of in our physical world, we see that those assets will play a crucial role in the future financial markets, being the decentralized financial markets, in enabling anybody to invest into any research project from their homes. And this will liberate those research projects and will enable more research to be conducted, and therefore help us to actually achieve larger goals together with the researchers.